All right, folks, it's this time of the year we start talking about MegaCon over in Orlando and the greater Tampa Bay area. We have tons of fans that like to travel there and make the trip over. If you're listening to us on the internet, you know we promote and we attend MegaCon every year. And with us is a great guest. I'm very excited to be able to talk to Jim Cummings. How are you doing, Jim?
So far, so good. Great to be here, Brandon. Good morning.
Thank you for fitting us in. And Jim, you have a massive resume, hundreds of characters that you have voiced over the years, folks, from Darkwing Duck to House of Mouse. I mean, nearly 4, 5, 6, just incredible list of characters on that show. He did Scar and Lion King. We're going to talk about that. Ray the Firefly that said Princess of the Frog. So tons of great stuff that you and your kids have enjoyed over the years, the different animated characters. So, Jim, tell everybody a little bit about when you go to an event like this, like MegaCon, you got this massive comic book crowd, and they're there to see TV guests and whatever. What are folks coming up to you? They want to hear you say. They want to have you sign. What are the things that they're most excited about when they meet Jim Cummings?
I have to tell you, it's amazing to. That's a great question because I was absolutely flabbergasted. I've been going to a few conventions just recently. I'm a late bloomer, I suppose. I mean, some people have been doing it for decades. Well, I probably went to my first in 2012. So not even 2 years. I've probably been about like 15, and I'll go to one in the Northeast, and every other person was coming up to me going, "So do the line," and I said, "Do the line." They go, "Yeah, you know," and I'm thinking, "Well, I am the terror, the slaps and that." No, not Darkwing. It's, "Oh, bother, will you?" No, not Pooh. Well, what do you want me to? Not Tigger. No, it's, and sure enough, it was a guy, Minsk, from a video game. Oh gosh, 15 years ago, Baldur's Gate, and apparently he was a favorite avatar. I haven't thought of him in like a dozen years, and these guys, it is so top of mind with them, the gamers of this particular game, that it was as if they could just come up to me and say, "Do the line," and I would pop it right out. So it's an amazing thing. There are huge, I can tell you this, Darkwing Duck, Princess and the Frog, Aladdin, Lion King, Shrek, those folks or the Bee Movie, they're kind of everywhere. Winnie the Pooh fans, Tigger fans, Taz fans. But then you'll hear there'll be a little pocket of people who are just crazy for Sonic the Hedgehog, or this video game or that video game. Nowadays, a lot of folks are getting a kick out of a character called Lore Walker Cho, and he's from Blizzard Entertainment in World of Warcraft, and it's the Mists of Pandaria. And folks are really into what they're really into. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And if they're into it, they are like waist deep. And so I can tell you honestly, it truly, truly varies from con to con, and certainly the accent, on this convention might be anime. So I'm not real big in anime. But, there'll be one, for instance, at Star Wars weekends down in Orlando last weekend because of my character Hondo Onaka in Clone Wars, Star Wars, being very popular. My head was exploding with Hondo Onaka quotes and paraphernalia. And so, it varies. I mean, right after the re-release of Lion King on 3D, then I did all the singing for Jeremy Irons in Lion King for Scar. Actually, I did about 8 of his lines, too. But I was Ed, and I wrote I'm happy to say, I wrote the fart verse in Hakuna Matata. Thank you. And so that the accent was very, very much on Lion King, I guess it just depends on the crowd. That was a nice long-winded answer. Aren't you glad you asked? Sorry.
No, you're doing just fine, and we want to talk about some of those things because most people don't know this backstory to Lion King. I think I picked this up on a commentary way back when Lion King came out. It was one of my daughter's favorite movies, and we listened to the commentary one time, and they started talking about Jeremy Irons, and your name had popped up, and I remember Googling it up, and I'm like, oh, man, this is a really cool backstory. Little did I know, let's fast forward to today, and I'm actually going to talk to Jim about this. And I guess Jeremy Irons had fallen ill and wasn't able to really finish this recording of Be Prepared, and then obviously it affected some of his lines that they kind of wanted to go back in and redo, and you basically stepped up, right?
Sure, yeah, that's it.
That's how it's
I
sold.
was just gonna say that. It certainly isn't that he wasn't a good singer. That can't possibly be it.
No, we're
That
not
would be ridiculous. How could that be?
But we get to know that. Be prepared.
It's not that. Yeah. It's not that Sir Tim Rice looked at me and said, "You can hear every Marlboro the man has ever smoked." It's not that he looked at me and said that. He didn't say that. Why would you even bring that up? No, of course he didn't.
No, nothing else. It's just there's two different versions possibly, depending on what region of the DVD you have.
Yes,
you might have.
Okay. All right. It's just fine. He in fact, I could tell you kind of a joke at the time. Jeffrey Katzenberg and Michael Eisner, Jeffrey Katzenberg were still at the wheel. And the producers were coming to me, and they're, "Oh, this is great! You know, we did the song." And it's kind of funny because even though Scar is obviously he's quote unquote the character Scar is getting ready to sing the song, and there's Cheech Marin, Whoopi Goldberg, and myself. We are in the scene as the hyenas. But if you read the credits, it says "Be Prepared," performed by Jeremy Irons, Whoopi Goldberg, Jim Cummings, Cheech Marin. Well, the character Ed, my guy, doesn't really say anything, and he doesn't even laugh during the whole song. So if you think about it, why is my name there?
Ed barely talks in the movie. Anything. He grunts and nods.
Yeah, he laughs. It's all a laugh. That's a whole other story. They wrote down all these different emotions and said, okay, laugh in anger, laugh in lust, laugh in hunger, laugh in fear, laugh in laughter. You know, so that, but during Be Prepared, he was kind of silent. So why was my name there? It was because basically Jeremy did all the speaking, and then I know it sounds salted, you know, and I be prepared. He never even said the title of the song. So, you know, I'm a stunt singer. What can I tell you?
There you go.
You know, a lot of actors can't sing, and a lot of singers can't act, and I can't do either, so they let me do both.
Do you find it easy to sing in their voices? I mean, you go in and out of the voices. Obviously, we've heard a little bit of dose of that. It's funny because normally I ask, hey, listen, can you give me a little station ID for Dispatch Radio, that show? I wouldn't even know which voice to ask. I'm actually, anyway, let's not get distracted. Do you find it easy to sing in their voices? Because, I mean, they are all sorts of different pitches and ranges.
Oh, that's for sure. Yeah, well, it's, you know, it varies. It varies. Of all things, Winnie the Pooh, bless his little heart, he's not all that good a singer.
So he doesn't sing too much. He's more of kind of he's humming and doing his little thing.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot of songs. I mean, over the years, I mean, the Search for Christopher Robin, Pooh's Grand Adventure,
and that's true.
The Heffalump movie, the Tigger movie, the on and on and on, and you know, the Christmas specials, and you know, he's out there. But my friends Tigger and Pooh, they did a great Tigger and Pooh in a musical too, which is one of my favorites of all time that we did. It was a direct-to-DVD from the TV series on the Disney Channel with Darby. There was some great songs there. But Tigger, on the other hand, is a pretty darn good singer. He can belt one out. So it depends on the character. I've sung for Ed Asner and Jeremy Irons, Christopher Lloyd, Danny DeVito. I occasionally sing for myself, which is always nice. So I got that going for me. But yeah, it's all that stuff that used to get me kicked out of class, so I love it.
You mentioned sort of the backstory of, you know, when they write lines for something like Ed the Hyena, where it's more of just a sound effect and an emotional.
Yeah.
How are the scripts? What do they look like for Taz? Because you do the Tasmanian Devil, and obviously, we can kind of understand Taz at times. But what does the actual scripts? What do they actually say?
Well, you know, the joke was they would even send me the scripts. They did this for Lurch too, believe it or not. When I was Lurch,
when you did the Addams Family cartoon,
It was very, very important to get those lines in advance. But because you know, you don't want to say instead of.
I can tell the difference. I can tell the difference.
Can you just see?
I got that.
Jump out at
we're just going to have to record that again. Yeah. Take two, Jim, this time.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah, 3 U's and 4 H's.
Right.
So anyway, no, but Taz, in fact, I'll write this whenever I sign an autograph for Taz. It's kind of funny. I'll say, but this is going to be actual Taz I'll put it in quotes. This is a line from one of his magnum opuses, and it'll be 3 exclamation points, 2 question marks, a dollar sign, an ampersand. Oh, probably, maybe we'll throw in a pound sign just for good measure, a couple of dollar signs, and maybe a treble clef at the end. And that means, and the way that sounds is, and that means, hi, how are you? My name is Taz. Can you hand me the butter, please? And, but I mean, it was obvious.
Right.
But I figured I'd translate anyway. But no, it's all in context. Like, you can tell when he's mad, you can tell when he's sad, you can tell when he's hungry. He's always hungry. And you can tell when he's Taz.
That's awesome. It's fantastic.
So there you go.
we're talking with Jim Cummings. He's appearing at MegaCon, and the megaconvention.com. You can get a list of all the folks that are there, comic books, media folks. There's anime stuff. It's an amazing comic convention that's down here in Florida, and we're talking with Jim, who does this amazing resume of voices. And I want to get to another one of this is my youngest daughter, one of her favorites is Princess and the Frog, and you do the Firefly. Now, the Firefly, I got to tell you what, I'll be honest, if I wasn't prepping for you, I'd lose the $1 million question if they asked me what his name was. I was like, oh man, I couldn't even. So Ray, I will never forget Ray now after speaking with you. So
that's right.
Ray is a really cool character.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more. Your daughter clearly is a young woman of discerning taste, and I'm very pleased to hear that. No, he's one of my absolute all-time favorites. People say, what's your favorite? Well, Pooh and Tigger are kind of off to the side. They're in their own little pantheon, their own galaxy. They come from literature, and they've been around since almost a century. So, they're off to the side. They're in their own world. But then, the other different characters, like from Darkwing to Taz and everything. But Ray is so far up there because, as a kid, I ran away from home and became a deckhand on a riverboat in New Orleans, and basically that's where I learned the Cajun accent. I can tell you that. And New Orleans is my favorite city in the world, and it just had everything. It was like, if I don't get in this movie, I mean, it even had food. Come on, if I don't get in this movie, I'm gonna shoot myself, because my little girl Gracie, she's 9 now. Well, at the time we were making it, she was just about the exact same age to the month as little Princess Tiana when the movie opened. She was like 4. And she looked just like Princess Tiana.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You couldn't tell Gracie she wasn't Princess Tiana, So I told myself, gosh, we're looking at the sides and the pictures and everything, and I said, if I don't get in this movie, I'm going to shoot myself, because what will happen, it'll come out, everybody's going to love it, they're going to put it on the soundtrack, they're going to put out the DVD, and I'm going to sit here for the next 5, 6, 10, 20 years listening to the songs that should have been sung by me, So I hunkered down and pulled out all the stops, and luckily I was very, very blessed that, that John Musker and Ron Clements, and Peter over there, Delvecco, and of course John Lasseter, the magnificent geniuses behind Disney feature animation, they kind of pointed the magic wand at me, and boing, and it's one of my all-time favorites. In fact, we sung, I sang Ma Belle Evangeline, which was kind of the romantic song in which the prince and the princess fall in love. They always have one of those. Well, I got to sing that one, and I told Randy Newman, I said, please, this is a Cajun Firefly. You got to get a Zydeco song in here.
Yeah.
Come on, we're in the bayou, this and that, and it's so great because he kind of got inspired to write Gonna Take You There. Going down the bayou, going down the bayou. And it was great because in the movie, I don't know if you noticed, so I had my little girl Gracie. She was already thought she was in the movie. And my little girl at the time, Lulu, she is now 6. She was, of course, just a little peanut. And if you notice, right before in the movie, when I pick up we call them pillbox bugs, the little roly-polies.
Yeah, roly-polies.
He picks one up, and he uses her as a little concertina, as a little squeeze box accordion, Cajun style. And he picks her up and says, "All right, Lulu."
Oh, all right.
And Ray calls the little concertina squeeze box Lulu. So I had both of my little girls in the movie.
Well, that movie, the legacy of that movie will live on in the Cummings house forever. Then, basically.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yes, it will.
You mentioned the Star Wars weekend, and obviously, you've got a character like Hondo Ohnaka, and you've got some of these different things that have come on board here in the last couple of years. What do you, do they approach you with the style of voice, or do they come up with a character description and you come up with something? How does it go from development to reality?
Sure. Well, the artists come up, they come up with the character, and he was kind of, is he a pirate? Is he a businessman? Yes. Is he a good guy or is he an incredibly bad guy? Pretty much, yeah.
Both, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right, you bet. And because he's, let's face it, he's, you might not have to worry about Hondo stabbing you in the back. He's not that. He's not Manson. But I'm not going to play poker with him.
Right.
You're not going to ask him, here, will you hold this? I'm getting ready to make a bank deposit, and I can't find my keys. Yes, of course, I'll take care of this for you. No, you're not going to hand that to Hondo. But, he's kind of that lovable rogue. And, they kind of mix it around. And, in the Star Wars universe, they use a lot of accents that, which was it? Empire, not Empire, but... the number one, I think there were almost like a Maori accent from Tasmania, Australian accents. Jar Jar Binks is half Jamaican, and we got Brits all over the place,
right? And
a few Irish people pop up. So I was trying to think. Well, I know we don't mind accents, but which one should we get? And honestly, because it's fun. I always joke around and say that the reason whenever they make biblical epics is all the ancient Romans seem to be from England. Now, just like when they made 300, for some reason the Spartans were Scottish.
Yeah.
Go figure. And I think it's because in America, when we make movies, we like our guys to sound a little foreign, but it would be nice to still be able to understand them. So we go to England or Scotland. So I thought, well, here's a guy that nobody can get a handle on. And I've always said, Brennan, that if you do a bad impression of someone that everybody knows, but they can't tell who you're doing, you get a new character. And if you do a perfect impression of somebody that nobody knows, you've got a new character. So Hondo Ohnaka is the worst Yul Brynner you've ever heard.
I'm going to have to go watch a YouTube video or two of Yul Brynner now and then meld it together. Actually, you may have just accidentally created some sort of new thing for a fan to do in Star Wars. They're going to try to blend together stuff, so we may have to point people towards that. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Well, I couldn't let you
evolves from there. So.
I couldn't let you go. I know we got to wrap up. I want to definitely be able to squeeze in some time to plug your websites and those kinds of things. But I have to ask and maybe get a little dose because we do have to do. We're a news website, so I have to do a lot of hard news. But I do know in my search that in the animated Iron Man, you actually did a Bill Clinton.
Oh yes, I'm afraid so. Guilty.
Guilty
as charged.
I have to get a little dose because that's an animated Iron Man I haven't seen yet. I do have a few of them, and I've seen most of them, but that one I hadn't seen yet, so I haven't been privy to your Bill Clinton yet. So you'll have to give me a little dose.
Oh gosh, I haven't done that in 1,000 years. But it's like I told my friend Tony Stark. I got 2 words for you: Rust-Oleum.
Rust-Oleum. That's fantastic. But Bill Clinton saying Rust-Oleum. This is going to be a T-shirt. Folks, it's
2 words, Iron Man. Rust-Oleum.
That's fantastic.
I'm just saying.
Jim Cummings. Jim, are you on all the social media and all this stuff? Do you do all that? Or?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm on Twitter at Jim Cummings Acme.
Okay.
And it's Tara Strong's fault. She made me do it. We were sitting there waiting for the session to start, and she's doing it. I said, what do you do? She goes, I'm tweeting. I go, oh, God, you're a Twitter tweet? She goes, yeah, where's your phone? She grabs my phone. She goes, what do you want to call yourself? I said, what? What do you want to call yourself on Twitter? What do you mean on Twitter? Jim Cummings Acme, like Warner Bros.? Perfect. Boom, I'm on Twitter. And it's like, what did you just do? She goes, I put you on Twitter.
That's fantastic. Jim Cummings at
so
me.
Apparently I got kidnapped by Tara Strong, and now I'm on Twitter at Jim Cummings at me. And I almost know what I'm doing. I'm part Amish. Sorry.
Well, the last person
that at the end of sketch.
The last person that I interviewed that was new to Twitter, they were made fun of for a couple of weeks by calling it twitting. They were twitting instead of tweeting. Yeah. So we're not alone with this transitional for many people. So you're not alone.
Oh,
Jim, do you have a website that people can follow the stuff that you're doing? And
I guess I had one, but not really, because I kind of never go on there. It's like when I'm on Facebook, apparently my daughters tell me when things are happening with me. My older girls, I've got a 30-year-old and a 27-year-old, and so I got from 30 to 6. So obviously I'm a slow learner, but no, they tell me that there's a Cult of Cummings, there's a fan page, and this and that. But I am on there, but it's kind of like once a week I go on and say hello to my cousins, and
we'll link to a few of those and nothing else. The Twitter handle, because the Twitter handle has now a legacy of its own. So, and I look forward to being involved. I don't know. Maybe I can navigate the crowds there and get a chance to shake your hand face to face.
I would hope so.
Who knows? That place can be a madhouse. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a real treat talking with you.
Oh well, the gusto is mino. That's French. And thank you so much, Brandon, and hi to everybody down there. And come on down. You'll feel the difference. It's MegaCon.
MegaCon, that's right. It is the 21st through the 23rd over at the Orlando Convention Center. We'll have links to that, of course, megaconvention.com if you want to get a list of the guests, whether they be comic book media or otherwise. And you can go over there and see Jim and have some exclamation points and pound signs on your Taz photo or your shirt, because he's got it all down. So, Jim, again, thank you so much for fitting this in, and I appreciate it so much.
My pleasure. Stay tuned.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.